Argentina, usted lo sabe, el mate es la bebida más popular. Se toma en todos los rincones del país. Sobre el tema recibimos el siguiente informe de Edgardo Esteban.
Para los argentinos, tomar mate es parte de su identidad, de su pertenencia. A toda hora, uno disfruta del mágico encanto de la infusión más popular y tradicional de Argentina.
Es un momento que se puede disfrutar mucho con la familia, tanto con amigos como... Es una de las tradiciones que tenemos que más respeto y más me gusta tenerla y sentirla.
Yo tomo mucho mate con amigas, sola. Disfruto mucho del mate, más que nada con amigas. Ahora vinimos, tomamos un matecito, charlamos.
Ofrecer un mate es parte del ritual de una reunión entre amigos. Hay cientos de bares temáticos en donde se puede beber en soledad o compartirlo en una charla informal.
El secreto está en la situación que crea, en el buen momento que crea el compartir un mate. No es poca cosa que alguien esté preparando a alguien con mucho cariño, con mucho amor, calentito, entregarlo en la mano de otra persona. No hay casi cosas en el mundo que existan que alguien se la entrega en la mano a la otra y se devuelve en la mano, que tiene todo códigos, que tiene mucha representatividad.
Inventada por los indios guaraníes hace 2000 años, la cultura de matear ha perdurado a lo largo del tiempo. El original Museo del Mate es una alternativa para quienes desean conocer los secretos de esta mística bebida.
El mate es una excusa, diría yo así, para juntarnos, para encontrarnos, para pasar un buen momento, incluso para acompañar malos momentos en nuestra vida. Incluso además también, más allá de compartir 2, 3 personas, una pareja, una familia, los compañeros de trabajo, el mate es un gran compañero en soledad. Y esto ha atravesado todos los tiempos.
La esencia de tomar mate no ha perdido su vigencia. A pesar del tiempo se renueva y sigue más vivo que nunca. Los amantes de la infusión más popular de Argentina sostienen que beber mate caliente es un gran aliado a la hora de compartirlo con amigos. Edgardo Esteban, Telesur, Buenos Aires.
Like they were saying in that video, mate is something that you can do either with your friends or you can do it alone. It's something that you can tell from the ladies that spoke how important it is and how much they love to do it. And like the gentleman said at the end, it's one of the only things you can think of where you have to pass something off to someone just to get it returned right back to you. And it brings them really close together as a country. And this was from Argentina, but there are a lot of different countries that drink mate in South America. And they all claim to be the country that originated drinking it. And so I wanted to actually look into a little bit more of the history of mate and find out where exactly it originated. So a couple of the countries that we have here are Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina, Paraguay, Peru, and Chile. And all these countries are involved in either saying that they originated from it or they are actually originating it. And so, like I said, a lot of countries, they consume it and they actually say that they originate consuming it and producing it. And then this shows a little picture of how much it is important to these countries. Or we have a little kid here drinking mate at a very young age. So the actual history, the consumption started in the 16th century in Paraguay, actually, from the Spanish immigrants and also the Guarani indigenous people. And so in the 17th century, it spread to Chile and Peru. And then Jesus, he domesticated the product in the late 17th century and built plantations in Misiones, Argentina. Unfortunately, after his expulsion in 1770, the plantation failed and the domestication of the product stopped. It did stay active, however, because it became very popular in Brazil, and they became the main producer of yerba mate. In the late 19th century and the early 20th century, Brazil and Argentina domesticated the product again. And in the 1930s, Brazil focused a little bit more on producing coffee, which made Argentina become the largest producer, and they actually resurrected the original plantation in Misiones, Argentina. Although not including in the written history, Uruguay still claims to be the original consumer of mate. And I actually lived in Uruguay for a couple of years, and you wouldn't believe how much they fight with Argentinians about who made it first and who is the original consumers of mate, and they claim to be the original consumers. although history tells us it is actually in Paraguay. So now I wanted to talk about how to make mate, and it is a little bit more difficult than it looks. Definitely a lot more difficult than making tea. And so the first thing you have to do is pick your certain yerba mate. So yerba is the main ingredient. As you can see here, there's some with there's a lot of different flavors, a lot of different options. You have ones with orange, there's some with mint, there's some that are a lot more sweet, there's some that are more bitter. You just have to try them out and find out which one you like best and take your pick. And then from there, there's not really much more ingredients. It's just boiling water, yerba and boiling water. Common things that people add to it are sugar to make it sweeter, an orange peel to kind of give it a fruity kick. And if the yerba doesn't already have mint, a lot of people add mint into their yerba as well. And so here I actually have a video of me making mate and showing you what you need and how to make it. What you need to make mate. First you need a type of yerba, a mate cup, a bombilla, and for taste you add sugar, hot water, and on the go, a thermos. So now I'm going to show you how to make mate. First, you grab the yerba mate, and I already have some in here. I have the mate cup, and here I have the yerba mate. You take a little bit of a spoon, not that much, put it in, and you grab a little bit of sugar in here, a little bit of sugar, and you have cold water, just like a drop. And you stir it with the bombilla. Once you do that, you need the straw in there, the bombilla in there. And then you grab a little bit more mate, pour it in there, a little more sugar, and one more time mate yerba, and then sugar. And then you add some water, some hot water. From there, you're ready to take your first sip. So after you're done drinking it, just add a little bit more yerba mate and sugar to sweeten it up, and then water again. And you're good to go. So, as you see from the video, it takes a little bit more than just dumping yerba and water into a cup. Most importantly, the reason why it takes a little bit more time is because the bombilla, or the straw, is actually has a little filter at the bottom, and you have to place it in there at the right angle and with the right amount of yerba in the cup so that the yerba doesn't come through the straw, because you don't want to drink the yerba. And so that's how you can make it to get your best mate. And so with drinking mate, there are a lot of rules that come with it. These rules are not written down; they're not in any book or anything, but they are very much known. In any country you go that drinks mate, everyone will know what these rules are. So the first one is always offer mate when you're in a group of people or speaking with someone. So if you're with a group of friends and you have mate, you have to share it with everyone else. It's just a custom. It'll be rude not to. Or even if you're with just one person and you're drinking, always offer to share it with them. Always accept mate when offered, unless a valid excuse is given. So if you're with someone and they offer you mate, always accept it unless there is an actual excuse, whether or not you're sick, you're trying to not drink as much mate, simply, I mean, if you just don't like mate, that sometimes is accepted, but you got to be careful, because if you don't accept mate from someone, it comes off as not only rude but offensive to people. And then the third rule is never touch the bombilla, otherwise known as the filtered straw, unless you are the distributor. Like I said, it's placed a certain way so that the yerba doesn't come through the straw, and so if you move it, then you mess up the drink, and then they have to start over and pour everything out and do it again so that the yerba doesn't come through the straw. So it's very important not to do that. It's a good way to make someone from those countries mad if you do that. So now that we've learned a lot more about how important mate is in these cultures, and also how to make it, I wanted to talk about mate in the workplace. So many places in South America, they actually allow to have mate in the workplace, and it doesn't consider it to be unprofessional. And so this picture here, I actually took myself when I went and visited Uruguay a year or two ago in the airport. I was very much aware of the use of mate in this culture, and I found it very amusing. It was just a nice touch. Right as you walk off the plane, the people checking my bags were right there with their mate. And it was something I just had to take a picture of. So I took this picture, and it's a great example of showing how mate is used at the workplace there. So I kind of got down to thinking, what are the pros and cons? How does it affect the workplace? And so with everything, there are pros and cons. So with the pros and cons of mate at the workplace, I found these key factors. So pros, it boosts good morale. Those who are accustomed to drinking mate every day will very much be happy that they're allowed to drink it at work, and they will drink it at work all the time, and it'll make just a good work environment where everyone's happy at work. It's also a good practice of teamwork. Like I said, you share mate. And so if your employees are sharing mate together, then that'll help their unity and help their teamwork. And it also keeps employees energized. So mate has a lot of caffeine in it. And so if you let your employees drink mate, they'll most likely have a lot more energy through the day, which you can't complain about. There are, however, some cons. Some may consider this to be unprofessional. And also maybe a time waster. Like I showed you in the video, it's not as simple as tea. There is a lot of it takes to making it, and then also not just making it, but refilling it up and having to constantly have things around you to fill it up and continue to have it. So maybe consider it a big time waster. And then it may obstruct your work, depending on what your work is. If you work in a factory, if you work with a lot of machines, if you work in the country, if you work in the fields, if it's going to be something that just makes your work slower or just makes your work unattainable, it may not be a good thing to have in the workplace. So I came down to it, and the big question, should American-based companies allow mate when these companies are in these countries that have mate? My main solution for this, my answer to the question is yes and no. The reason I say that is it comes down to, for me, what the job is. If the job is going to be obstructed by the drinking of mate, like I said, if you work in the field or in a factory, then I believe that, yes, mate should not be drinking in the workplace. However, if you work in a call center, or you work in a place that mate won't be too obstructive, I don't see a problem. I actually think it's very much comparable to how we drink coffee in the United States. It wouldn't be unprofessional to see somebody in a business setting have a cup of coffee on their desk. And so my answer kind of breaks it down to if someone shouldn't have a cup of coffee here while they're working, then someone shouldn't have mate there while they're working, and vice versa. If it's acceptable for someone to have a cup of coffee here while they're working, then yes, I think it would be very much acceptable to let your workers and drink mate at work in these different countries. And that is my conclusion.